Shonen is great for people that are big dreamers, wanting to explore alternate realities. A majority of the stories hinge onto themes like friendship and youth, but sometimes anime lovers want stories with dark subject matter and a unique story without the same old anime tropes. The amount of anime with dark subject matters are vast today. We have classics like Death Note, Monster, Devilman Crybaby, and Tokyo Ghoul. We also cannot forget most recent hits like Attack on Titan and Chainsaw Man. These type of shows question themes like the value of life and the greed of others. Themes of sin are commonly explored in dark storylines, as main characters are usually pushed to their very limits. However, shows like Chainsaw Man would not exist today if it weren't for inspiration drawn from other horror manga artists like Junji Ito. Junji Ito's nightmare-fueled manga and anime series left many viewers unable to sleep at night. From stories like eyeball-covered humanoids that I discussed in my Ludwig video.
T-Pain is in there with Ludwig.
To a family surrounded by oil-drenched walls. Junji Ito's stories are chillingly iconic, and today we are going to explore every live-action film adaptation of his work.
You just made.
The Stephen King of Japan, Junji Ito's distinctive style of distorted panels and unsettling imagery have captivated manga readers since 1987. His work features several recurring themes like beauty, body horror, criticizing the Japanese society, helplessness, tradition, obsessions, and so much more. With the recent Netflix adaptation of Junji Ito's work, I felt that it was only fitting and only appropriate to review his other adaptations, but only the live action ones, because that's where things get very strange. I was able to find every single live adaptation film of his work except for this one film, Kakashi, that was not available on any of the streaming platforms. So if you've seen this one and you know where it's streaming, please send me the link. Junji Ito's work extends far beyond the manga and anime industry. Themes from his works have made their rounds on social media as well. Many scenes have become memes, and others have become inspiration for influencers. Many of his stories were adapted into films in the late 90s. There are films for his stories like Uzumaki, Long Dream, and we can't forget to mention the entirety of the Tomie cinematic universe. But we'll get to her story later. First on the list of films, we are going to start with Long Dream. Long Dream is an adaptation of Junji Ito's work of the same exact name. It is the first chapter of volume 14 of the horror world of Junji Ito series, The Story of the Mysterious Tunnel. This live-action film adaptation was made for television back in 2000 and tells the story of Makoto, a man that dreams for years when he falls asleep. The scenes in this film are literally identical to its framework and felt like I was watching a very long episode of Goosebumps with a little bit of death sprinkled into it. As Makoto's dreams become longer and longer, his body starts to shut down. He'll roam around the hallways when he's awake and scares other patients like Mommy, who thinks he is death coming to take her. Mommy is also in the hospital awaiting a brain surgery. Something you'll notice as we dive deeper into the Junji Ito rabbit hole is the hospital is a common setting for many of his work. I also feel like this film shared the same makeup artist as Halloween Town because, oh god, take a look at this atrocious mess. I know it's 2000 and obviously they wanted this work to closely resemble the original manga, but I could have gone without seeing this. However, the film adds a new spin on the story by giving the doctor that is operating on the patients a deeper motive. In the original manga, the doctor only becomes obsessed with his work with Makoto's body turns to ashes and leaves behind a strange crystal-like substance. The doctor then injects the other patient, Tomie, with that substance because he believes eventually all of humanity will want to enter this endless dream. However, in the film, the doctor injects Tomie to test whether the experiment of endless dreams will work so he can find his dead fiance in the dream world. That's the first rule of film adaptations, literally. Any film that takes from some type of book or other written work that most likely had not already had some type of love interest, if it's turned to a film, they always add in a love interest. You gotta have some type of will they, won't they, right? Uzumaki is next on the list. This film shares the same name as the original Junji Ito work as well, and boy does this movie take you for a whirlwind. That was a little inside joke for other people who are familiar with this. Uzumaki, which means spiral in Japanese, is a horror manga series written and illustrated by Junji Ito. The series first appeared as a serial in the weekly manga magazine Big Comic Spirits from 1998 to 1999. There are definitely some strange occurrences going on in this town. We see sirens going off from a distance, many shots where students look like NPCs that are rendering in the background. Most of the students look way too old to be in high school, and this one attractive student who just seemingly comes out of nowhere when another student covered in a gooey, clear white substance disrupts their class. Is no one gonna ask what's wrong with this kid? The film tells the story of the citizens of a fictional city which is plagued by a supernatural curse involving spirals. The strange occurrences happen so often that characters usually brush off any event, or they'll instantly joke about a character that literally just recently died 10 minutes ago. Not even. A father of one of the students is starting to show an obsession with the spiral and will often go into tangents about spirals creating vortexes. We get this one fun scene where the dad makes a spiral with his eye because all of his spiral collection was thrown out by his son. After a while, this film starts to bring out more laughter and confusion out of you than any type of fear, but it is fun to watch. And if you instantly thought of Naruto when you heard Uzumaki, there is this one scene where the family is sitting around eating dinner and the dad is literally eating Naruto because it has spirals and he's obsessed with spirals.
もうないのか。
すいません。
謝ることないよ。
ナルト巻きの入ってない味噌汁なんか。
The actor that played the son looks like he could play Uryu Ishida from Bleach in a live adaptation. Now on to the Tomie universe.
トミエは俺のもんだからな。
お見えじゃん。
見え
どうしたの？
The Tomie universe is centered around separate stories of encounters with Tomie. We see individual characters obsess, stalk, love, and eventually always kill Tomie. You might recognize her if you've seen images like this one. These are inspired depictions of the original manga series created by Junji Ito in 1987. Tomie was the first of his creations that we know today. He originally submitted the story of Tomie to Monthly Halloween, a horror manga magazine publication. Horror films were becoming newly popular, or just horror in general was becoming popular in Japan in the late 80s. The Tomie manga was made into a 4-part series in the Monthly Halloween from 1987 to 2000. The popular horror manga inspired several television dramas and the movie franchise. The Tomie anthology follows a specific format, with each story beginning with Tomie either encountering a random person in a public place or her disembodied head being found in bags of trash. Her irresistible beauty, luscious black hair, and her seductive energy is enough to keep any man on his toes. But just because someone is easy on the eye does not mean that they are genuine. From the outside looking in, it seems like Tomie has the perfect life. She's able to get any man to bend to her will. But not everything is as good as it seems. You know what they always say, don't judge a book by its cover. Tomie can instantly be recognized by her beautiful jet black hair, soft-like features of her face, and her signature mole underneath her left eye. I've got a mole under my eye too. It's not under my left though, it's under my right. See? It's right.
Subscribe to move forward. Subscribe to move forward. Subscribe.
Tomie integrates herself into the lives of other people she meets, and through a combination of gaslighting, seduction, humiliation, and dependence and codependence, she always succeeds at destroying her victims. And if she doesn't succeed at destroying her victim, she's murdered gruesomely. Tomie is killed by her victims again and again, and only to regenerate and even replicate herself throughout the series again and again. She's like the Japanese Jason, pretty much. Anytime she dies, she comes back to life. But plot twist, because she also spawns. The first runner-up on the Tomie film series is Tomie. The 1998 adaptation is a nostalgic slow burn, jam-packed with unsettling scenes. The film acts as a sequel to the original Tomie manga. The film takes place after the events of Tomie's first demise that we know of by her classmate from her previous school. A year later, Tsukiko, a former classmate of Tomie, leaves town and starts a new life with her boyfriend Yuchi. Tsukiko has recently started seeing a therapist for amnesia because she describes every time she closes her eyes, she sees her body covered in blood. Sounds like you have some serious trauma buried underneath that pretty little face of yours, honey. The detective assigned to Tomie's case learned that 3 years prior, another Tomie Kawakami was murdered in a rural area of Japan. Other slain Tomies are discovered stretching all the way back to the 1860s, right when Japan began to modernize. Yeah, that's definitely given some serious Jason vibes, you know what I mean? Hopefully she doesn't try to get to space, because then that'd be a whole nother issue. All the while, Tsukiko's neighbor, and remember this guy for later, is caring for a baby-like creature that grows into a beautiful teenage girl, responding to the name Tomie. Dun dun dun! In these scenes where he's taking care of this like baby-like Tomie creature has the most unsettling sounds that I have ever heard since the Serbian film. Yeah, as I mentioned, this film is very much a slow burn. Emphasis on the slow. Most of the Tomie movies are slow with random gore scenes sprinkled in. However, the first installment of the movie franchise is going to make you wait and add in various scenes that are too strange to look away from in the meantime. The film has many scenes that are aesthetically pleasing and even offers some inspiring cinematography. The soundtrack for this film is also it's pretty good. There's this one track that they use when characters are deep in thought, and it's so comforting to hear. It sounds like a phone text notification that someone forgot to mute. But now let's talk about our guest of honor, Tomie. It's apparent from the film's first scene that Tomie's recent demise delays her shenanigans in the beginning. We don't get too much of Tomie's whimsical behavior until she's fully regenerated. Her first face reveal is pretty uneventful, to be honest, and I feel that the writers could have hyped that moment up just a bit more because she is who we came to see, folks. Her name is the title of the movie. Also, Tomie's acting is fine. She didn't come to amaze you or anything. She does a decent job, but like the Tomie in the next installment that we're gonna review, it feels like she's deciding whether or not she wants to be more creepy or more cute, and it's a weird balance that you really can't seem to figure out. Fun fact about this film, the actress chosen to play Tomie is a J-pop star known as Miho Kano. She was hand-selected actually by Junji Ito, and Junji Ito even coached her for the audition. Something else I started to notice as I was going through a lot of these film adaptations and his preference specifically, I've noticed that a lot of the women chosen to play the protagonists in these films all had very similar characteristics. Of course, all the Tomies do, but even in the films that had nothing to do with Tomie, like Uzumaki and even Long Dream, some of the women that were like the main love interests looked exactly like they could have played Tomie too. The second film of the Tomie series, Tomie Another Face, was released in 1999. It is so obvious that this film received a much smaller budget than its predecessor. The transitions look cheap, and some scenes look like they have a 2012 Instagram filter overlaid on them. It's not good. The acting is subpar, and it feels like it was a straight-to-VHS sequel. The film was originally a TV series consisting of 3 episodes that were later split into the feature film. Originally titled Tomie, There's Some Beauty, the series was given the new title, Another Fate, as its new title on VHS and DVD. The 3 stories highlighted in this adaptation tell the separate encounters with Tomie. The first story shows Tomie being killed by her high school boyfriend and her what she thought was her high school friend. The second story shows Tomie being killed by a photographer, and the third story shows Tomie being killed by her fiancé. Again and again and again. I'm literally watching all of these Tomie movies, and so far, Tomie is like the cartoon villain that comes back every episode. The series, film, straight to VHS mess is honestly nothing to write home about. On a positive note though, I thought the actress who played Tomie, Runa Nagai, had a very similar outward appearance to the Tomie of the original manga. However, her acting is just bad. It's just bad. The third installment of the series has a much more unsettling tone that it starts with. You're not even 15 minutes into the film before you get a first glimpse of some body horror. And Junji Ito brings the body horror. But not just any body horror. No, this is on a child. Obviously, I'm not gonna show it, but it's basically like the scene from Alien, but on a child. Tomie Replay contains elements of the manga chapter Basement. In the manga, a girl named Yukiko, who was awaiting what she thought was a kidney transplant at the hospital, actually has a kidney monster removed from her. In the movie, that piece of the story is shown in the beginning. A child is rushed to the hospital for an unusually inflated stomach. The doctors operate on the girl and find a disembodied head inside of her stomach. Wow. The head is then stored in a tank of alkaline solution in the basement of the hospital for further observation. But soon after, the head morphs into a fully grown, you guessed it, Tomie, and she escapes from the basement. She finds Takashi, a young guy visiting his friend Fumihito, and pleads to him to get her out there. The next morning, Yumi, the hospital director's daughter, shows up in search of her father. Yumi has not heard from her father since the operation on the young girl and is nowhere to be found. This movie is riddled with unnecessary transitions too. For example, there's this scene where our main protagonist is on the elevator and the camera immediately zooms out with a swoosh, like a loud swoosh sound. I was initially looking down when this occurred and the swoosh sound caught my attention immediately. So I rewinded because I thought that I missed something, but when I rewinded and looked at the scene, I saw that absolutely nothing occurred. Nothing occurred other than just the elevator door sliding open. I thought that this film does a great job at developing separate stories aside from what's going on with Tomie just, obviously destroying these people's world. But for the characters Fumihito and Yumi, it did a very good job at establishing their lives outside of Tomie. While Tomie does remain to be the protagonist and the antagonist, the introduction of minor characters that alter the structural integrity of the storyline is crucial. Characters that are only there to serve as instruments to the protagonist are pretty boring and often leave underrated characters behind. Tomie's actions are just as important as the reactions of her victims, because those reactions usually get her killed in some form or fashion. They play hand in hand. After watching Tomie infiltrate people's lives and be creatively butchered movie after movie after movie, the whole story just honestly start to feel very predictable. And at this point for me, the movies are starting to reach the early 2000s, so I was very interested to see how they would update and change the format to match the time.
Desensitize. 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 Desensitize.
Tomie Rebirth opens with a well-known scene taken from the Tomie series. Tomie is being immortalized in a portrait by her artist boyfriend Hideo. Hideo seems to be a pretty accomplished guy too, a pretty accomplished artist. His awards are displayed around his studio, and as Tomie is walking around the space, she stops to look at some old photos. And I kid you not, her boyfriend just smacks the photos out of her hand. Throughout the movie series, we commonly see random acts of violence enacted upon Tomie. She's either slapped, smacked, or whacked out of nowhere most of the time. Another characteristic of Tomie is her ability to bring out jealousy and rage in humans, apparently. Her irresistible charm swoons other guys and annoys every girl, but the girls that don't become vengeful of Tomie usually become her prey. When Tomie sees the painting done by Hideo, this takes a paintbrush and scribbles all over it. The disrespect of this girl. Hideo, of course, becomes enraged by her actions and kills her, as every other person has done to Tomie. When his friends Takumi and Shunsuke walk in and see what he's done, they decide to help their best friend bury the body, of course. After they've gotten rid of Tomie's body, the guys decide to end the night with a couple of brewskis at the bar.
Cheers to burying the heads, guys, yeah.
When plot twist, Tomie shows up at the bar. Hideo goes on to take his life in a very gruesome fashion in the bathroom, leaving Tomie to latch on to his friend Shunsuke. But finally, we've reached a new spin on the Tomie story. Now they've brought a mom into the mix. How original. Oh, there's nothing like bonding with your child while dismembering an immortal regenerative succubus. Then the painting containing Tomie's blood fuses into another Tomie, and the friend Takumi, who has a girlfriend, becomes possessed by Tomie. But there's only room for one Tomie in this town. This film continues the theme from Replay, where women are transformed into Tomie if they come into contact with any body fluids or die while Tomie is in their presence. In the fifth installment, Tomie Forbidden Fruit, we meet a teenager named Tomie. But this isn't just the regular Tomie that we're used to. No, she doesn't have the mole underneath her left eye, one of the characteristics that we look for to acknowledge whether or not that's Tomie. This Tomie is a high school student that enjoys writing homoerotic horror fiction and is bullied by her classmates. One day while out shopping, Tomie meets a beautiful girl with a mole under her left eye, and shocker to no one, her name is Tomie. The two Tomies become fast friends, and later Tomie visits the other Tomie's house, continuing on with this parent trend that we saw in the last film. This time we find out Tomie is gunning for Tomie's dad, Kazuko. This Tomie is a spawn of a Tomie that Kazuko knew when he was younger. He was in love with Tomie, but she was dating his friend at the time. And naturally, he continued his obsession with her years later and eventually named his daughter after her. So now this daughter and dad duo have to deal with the fact that this Tomie has infiltrated their life and find a way to get her out of it. The next runner-up is the 2005 straight-to-video prequel, Tomie Beginning. This adaptation is based on the first Tomie manga, and the events that take place occur right before the first film. Oh yeah, it's the neighbor from the first film. He's come to the old school that he used to go to reminisce with his former classmate about that one time at summer camp. Just kidding. They're reminiscing over the time their entire classroom buried the body of their other classmate, Tomie.
昼にサンドイッチ食べてたんだ。飲み物は多分ミルクティーね。
These films really have a way of bonding family and friends while committing a crime as if it's just like a natural hobby. While this film finally portrays the initial story of the first Tomie manga, it still gives little information on Tomie's origin. Her former classmate mentions that Tomie's regenerative powers are similar to that of a planaria. They are flatworms with amazing regeneration ability, giving them the title title Immortal Under the Edge of a Knife. I also found it interesting that they changed one of the main indicators of Tomie's appearance. Her dark, luscious black hair instead is brown in this film. But one of the main indicators that Tomie is Tomie is her luscious long black hair. And this Tomie has brown hair with all these extensions in it, so I'm just like very confused. By the end of the film, we see the neighbor kill his former classmate while trying to gain knowledge of Tomie's whereabouts. He finds a heart in his former classmate's purse that belongs to Tomie and decides to take off with it, which then begins the events that occur in the first film. The next installation, Tomie Revenge, was another home video also released in 2005. 2005, they must have loved them some Tomie in the time, because they had 2 Tomie films that came out straight to video, and yeah, Japan just cannot get enough of some Tomie. They were actually supposed to continue the series. They were going to make a show Quibi when Quibi was a thing, but of course, you know, that got shut down, so I guess the series is just kind of floating around in the air somewhere. Tomie Revenge was another home video, also released in 2005. A doctor is on her way home when she accidentally runs over an unidentified girl. When the doctor rises from the car, she sees the unidentified girl has run into an abandoned building riddled with bodies, madman, and an unconscious girl. Who is this unconscious girl? It's not Tomie. Her name's Yukiko. This adaptation is based on the chapter Revenge. This film also shows us a new side of Tomie in that she occasionally gets an appetite for human meat. My synopsis on this is by eating other people's flesh, Tomie is able to regenerate quicker.
ね、人の肉って食べたことある？ないよ、そんなの。ないのに書いてるんだ。富江さんは食べたことあるの？今度食べさせてあげる。
We also get more confirmation on her ability to transform other women into Tomie, which can be also done by biting them. Another similar trope in this movie and Forbidden Fruit are dressing Tomie in red. In case you didn't know that was her from her obvious beautiful face, she's also in red. You can't miss her. We also get to hear what Tomie's end-all plan is. She wants to rid the world of men because she's tired of seeing war and kids dying on the news. Hey, do your thing, girl.
A recent report shows that in 40% of American families with children, women are the primary earners, yet they continue to earn less than men. What does this say about society?
男が世界中から一人もいなくなれば、ほとんどの戦争はなくなるわよ。悲惨なテロも、戦火の犠牲になる子供たちもずっと減るのよ。
Figure out how to create jobs right now. That is the biggest problem, and I think especially the men are seen as the leaders of this, and so we need to try to figure out how to create education better so that we can solve this problem. Thank you.
Huzzah!
Tomie versus Tomie is coming in at number 8. To be honest, to be very frank with you, it was very hard to get through this one because the captions made absolutely no sense. Whoever uploaded this, I don't know where they got this footage from. I don't know if they translated it themselves, but when I was watching it, the captions would literally say random shit like feed. And every time the characters were referring to Tomie, the caption said like rich river. But basically what I got from the story is this guy is starting a new job at a mannequin factory after his girlfriend's death. While working at the factory, he attracts the attention of a mysterious woman who watches from above, and what do you know? It's Tomie. By the looks of the red scarlet outfit and the mole underneath the left eye, that's Tomie. But I guess she dyed her hair again because that's definitely not black hair. So Tomie wants the affection of her new worker bee, but he has no interest in romance after his girlfriend's murder. And apparently she was murdered right in front of him, I'm seeing, but I guess he didn't do much about it. So Tomie is intrigued by his dislike of her and becomes very infatuated infatuated with him. But then all hell breaks loose when another Tomie arrives and also gets a crush on the new guy. So both Tomies, who met as children because they were both injected with Tomie's blood, are gunning for the love of the new guy. The white paint on Tomie's skin is very obvious in this film, and it's also their attempt at making Tomie look undead, kind of like a vampire. They'll even throw in vampire references every once in a while, so that's a thing. But once again, we are presented with the problem that sometimes not all Tomies have to like each other, and sometimes not all Tomies get along. Sometimes this town ain't big enough for two Tomies. And the last installment of the Tomie film adaptation, thank God, oh my God, is Tomie Unlimited. The film starts with Tsukiko taking photos after school. When her elder stepsister runs over to have her photos taken, she is later impaled by a steel cross that falls randomly from a construction site. This just sets off a whole whirlwind of events. 1 year after the incident, the family is celebrating what would have been Tomie's 18th birthday. The family is still obviously grieving over her death when all of a sudden, knock knock, there's someone at the door. And who do you know? It's Tomie. She's here to celebrate her birthday because she's 18 now and she's ready to party. Girl, where have you been for an entire year? All the other Tomies regenerate like that, especially when they consume human meat, apparently. Her presence, of course, drives the entire family into chaos, and when she tries to leave the house, the father just kills her. Yeah. But of course, in a very Tomie fashion, she shows up to school the very next day because this girl is dedicated to her education. She wants to learn and also gaslight all of the other classmates. The film felt more like an art film because of its very chaotic nature, and it really doubles down on the body horror. This film also made a very fun reference to the caterpillar from Junji Ito's other work, My Dead Ancestors. The Tomie in this film, Miyu Nakamura, was by far my favorite Tomie. I enjoyed every moment of her. I think her embodiment of being eerie and seductive were very well balanced. In the end of the film, we finally see that Tomie is closer to her goal of transforming every single woman in the entire world into Tomie, and probably getting closer to getting rid of all of the men so that she can end war and stop the killing of kids, because that's her end goal. I guess world peace. Say that they want world peace. I guess that's Tomie's end-all goal. Junji Ito has some very iconic work. Women and beauty and also misogyny are challenged throughout the series. They are not themes that we commonly explore in a lot of manga and anime series. Whether you watch his anime or you watch the film adaptations, where even if you're a true Junji Ito fan and you've read all the manga, there's no doubt about it, just like an Uzumaki spiral, once you start going down the Junji Ito rabbit hole, you'll want to continue diving deeper and deeper. Honestly, I'm glad I did. It was pretty fun. If you want to watch any of the films that I've mentioned, I will list them below. Most of them are located here on YouTube and are free, except for Kakashi. If you enjoyed this video and this long rundown of every single Junji Ito live film adaptation, then make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up. And also too, please don't forget to subscribe, because I am so close to 200 subscribers, guys. So if you could just help me get over this little hill so I can reach that 200 mark, I definitely appreciate it so much.